Mm.
Welcome to another episode of It's Debatable NBA Edition Free Agency Special Part 3. You want to see parts 1 and 2? Just go into our video catalog here on YouTube and see what we have to say about this year's NBA offseason. There's been a lot of trades, a lot of free agency signings, a lot of drama. And of course, It's Debatable is always here to break it all down. But like I said, part 3, the last part, a couple final things we have to talk about. And we're going to start with LeBron James, right? I don't think a couple months ago, really anybody, if I could just speak for myself, I didn't see him really leaving the Lakers. I did think he would retire a Laker, but like we said on the show, they was going in one direction. LeBron was going in another. So now we are here and we are waiting to see where will LeBron James land. So since I am the resident LeBron James Glazer on this network, I decided to do a top. Why are you smiling, bro?
I ain't smiling. I just didn't expect you to call yourself a LeBron Glazer.
Listen, man.
Fuck.
That's what all the young kids are saying nowadays, man. I gotta stay in touch with the youth.
All right, bro. By all means, man.
You feel me? But all jokes aside, I have a LeBron James top 5 destination list. After several breakdown, how does he feel about LeBron's decision where he thinks he's going? But we always gotta start with number 5, the Denver Nuggets. Did I think I would be saying I want to see LeBron James in the Denver Nuggets uniform when we're going through this LeBron AD regime? No, because they're kicking our ass every time in the playoffs. I hated the Denver Nuggets, but I love the idea of LeBron James and Nikola Jokic together. You can argue the top 2 IQs in the game right now. Could you imagine the pick and roll between Jokic and LeBron? It would be damn near unstoppable. We still got Jamal Murray there. We all know what he does in the playoffs if healthy. You have an Aaron Gordon, a Swiss Army knife type of player. Once again, if he's healthy, he's very reliable. And then you got Cam Johnson, right? So I feel you just add LeBron James into that starting 5. Maybe you re-sign a Peyton Watson. And I think that's a team that can compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs out in the Western Conference. I would not be mad at that. Would it be weird seeing him in a Denver Nuggets jersey? For sure. How will his body being, 41, 42 years old react playing in the Mile High City with all that altitude? I don't know. The man may catch a stroke. But if we're talking about fantasy booking and we're going off that whiteboard that Rich Paul and him drew up, I would love to see him as a Denver Nugget, but it's not number 4. Number 4, a team that's been heavily talked about, I feel like over the last couple of weeks, they've made a lot of big moves. The Philadelphia 76ers. I think it would be interesting, but there is only one basketball, right? We all know Tyrese Maxey is best with the ball in his hand. Jalen Brown, best with the ball in his hands. Joel Embiid, when he is on the court, best with the ball in his hands. And we know LeBron James could play off ball, but he's best with the ball in his hands too. But I feel sometimes too much talent can be a good problem to have, right? And I think LeBron, once again, in that pick and roll with Embiid, setting up easy looks for a Tyrese Maxey and a Jalen Brown, I definitely like how that would look. He would also be in the Eastern Conference. We always know everyone's been saying, I feel forever the East is always weaker than the West. So the road to an NBA Finals may be a little bit easier. You're gonna have that home crowd going crazy. Philadelphia will embrace you because all they want to see is winning basketball. And what not a better player to learn from if you are a young player like a VJ Edgecombe than a LeBron James on how to be a professional and how to take your game to the next level, right? So I love him to the 76ers. I definitely think it would be great to see, but I do not have it top 3. At my 3 spot, speaking of a reunion, a homecoming, right? How about LeBron James back to the Miami Heat, teaming up with a Giannis Antetokounmpo and a Bam Adebayo? Could you imagine LeBron James and a Giannis Antetokounmpo in transition? That's when you just move out the way and you pray to God because that would be something amazing to see. They also signed Tim Hardaway Jr., a shooter that, LeBron James loves to play with. I do think they would have to probably get another shooter. But if you're talking about the Miami Heat, it needs a point guard, right? Someone that can set up easy looks for Bam Adebayo and Giannis Antetokounmpo. You have damn well the best point guard in the game with a LeBron James and his IQ running that ship. And I think it would just be great to see, right? It would be great vibes out there in Miami. I feel if that was to happen, we would have to take a trip out there because we know Miami would be lit, right? Now, the only problem is how's the relationship with Pat Riley? We all know how things ended. You had Pat Riley taking his cookies on the plane. I don't know why he did that still till this day. But that was the last thing that we heard from just those two together. I'm pretty sure him and Eric Spoelstra still have a great relationship. And I think Eric Spoelstra is the top three coach in the game today. So him and LeBron James just drawing up plays together and then just dissecting the game. I think that would be great. I'm pretty sure LeBron already got business ventures out there. And once again, what not a better place to live for your family than Miami? So I got them number three, but not top two. At my two spot, I have the Golden State Warriors. And there's not even too much to say, but Steph Curry and LeBron James, two of the top best players of this last decade, you can say of this generation. The shooting of Stephen Curry, the best shooter we've seen in NBA history, playing alongside one of the best playmakers and floor general of all time with LeBron James. I think this elevates both of their games to the next level. I definitely think it extends both of their careers. You also got to talk about Draymond Green and the relationship he has with LeBron James. You have someone that will take a bullet for LeBron. There will be no trash talking to LeBron. There will be no hard fouls on LeBron because just like you had a Udonis Haslam in Miami, how he would protect Dwayne Wade, Draymond Green, he might get suspended for 50 games if he sees someone look at LeBron James the wrong way. So what not a better teammate to have? You also got poor Zingis out there, a stretch big that LeBron James has had success with before this throughout his career. Um, Now the West still would be tough. Would this make them a top three team? I'm not sure about that. But once again, just thinking about Stephen Curry and LeBron James sharing the same court on the same team, I think this would feed families and it would just be great to see. But not number one. My number one spot for LeBron James to go to, I think, is just Cleveland. I think he just goes back to where it all started being drafted there in 2003. We all know the relationship he has with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's been up and down. It's been bad and good. I think they are in a good space right now. They have a whole bunch of talent over there with the Donovan Mitchells of the world. We see James Harden, him waiting for him to re-sign his new deal, seeing if LeBron James is going to sign there. You have an Evan Mobley. You have a Jarrett Allen. You have a Max Strus. I think that is the most complete team for a LeBron James to go to. Who's Sean Chung? Nah, shout out to Mr. Chung. That's a fact. Get that farewell tour ready. So, Mr. Chung, are you hating? Because there will be no hating on a LeBron James segment. I don't want no trolling. This is serious business. All right. Don't be mad that he's not coming to New York. All right. Don't be mad about that. All right. Because without LeBron James, the Knicks are not winning another title. All right. And I want you to know that, and I want Seb to know that too. So calm down. Let's not get crazy. Okay, okay. All right. I just had to make sure. You feel me? As one of the presidents of the LeBron James fan club, we have to make sure that we are protecting Mr. James. But once again, the number one team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I do think that is the team he is going to go to. And that's my top five teams, man. Seb, break it down. How do you feel about those options? And where do you think, if you had to put your life savings on it, where will LeBron James play game one of next season?
Um, A lot of those teams made sense to the degree that LeBron James in certain situations would make those teams better. The only one that I'd say would be a tough catch, a tough pitch would be Philly due to the fact that, you have a lot of talent there. And I'm be on the record saying that, sometimes having a lot of talent is a good problem to have. But then again, it gets to a point to where how do we, ration out the shot charts? How does, we don't defer to somebody else a little too much to where another star gets his shine gets taken away, as in like somebody like VJ Edgecombe. How do we keep him engaged when he's not getting enough shots? How do we keep a guy like Embiid engaged when he's not getting enough shots? How does that go to work when there's only one basketball? So I say Philly is the only tough pitch I would have to say. Uh, I'll go backwards to which ones I wasn't feeling, to which I'm feeling the most. I think that Golden State. I think that what I'm saying. It it would be nice to have Braun there, but maybe if it was like what 4 years ago. I think age is definitely something that it's something serious, bro. Like, what I'm saying, like the body cannot withhold up. Like Stephen Curry has missed a lot of substantial amount of games in these past couple of years. Jimmy Butler, we don't know how healthy he's going to be coming into the season or what type of step he gets back. I'm relying on pods. I don't know, man. I think that the Golden State Warriors, as nice as it would sound, if this was like 3 or 4 years ago, yes, I'd say number one on my list. But I'm just not too sure about that because of the age. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it's an older group, and but the IQ is there. Like, what I'm saying? One thing I'll say about that is that the IQ is on like 1,000 for this team. That's one thing I won't take away from that Golden State Warriors team if they added LeBron. But just as what I'm saying, like the league is getting younger. Dudes are getting younger, faster, hungrier, man. And I don't know how much they're gonna keep up with that. So that's my only thing there. Then you said Miami. Miami is more so it's interesting how that dynamic would be due to a Bam and a Giannis, not really like a floor spacers. I know that they're very talented at transition. I know that they could get theirs. I just like in today's game, you know how a lot of teams prioritize the three and floor spacing to give like a 5 out offense or a 4 out one in. Um, I would just have to see how that would work though, especially for a guy like Giannis. Would he transition to being a pick and roll player with LeBron? LeBron would transition to a pick and roll player with him. How does Bam fit in the mix? So, that team is talent all above the charts, but at the same thing as well is like how would the offense run when you got a guy like LeBron? Would he play off the ball most likely? What does that mean for our point guard, Davion Mitchell, in any situation like that? How does he get off? How do we keep everybody engaged in that type of system? But that would be like a SPO issue though, because I know a lot of teams nowadays like we like spacing on the floor. And my only question would be for Miami Heat, where does the spacing come from? That was already my question when they brought Bam and Giannis together. So now you add in LeBron James, who could shoot the three ball. I'm not saying that though, but you know what I'm saying. How will the game be played when all three of them are on the floor? Is my only question. Um, so now going to the top two that two that you had left said that I was feeling. I start with Denver. No, actually, I start with Cleveland. Cleveland, I feel like it's a great reunion. I think that if you bring him alongside with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, a lot of things that they struggled with within the playoffs, getting off the slow starts, not executing games on the road, stuff like that. That wouldn't have happened if they had a LeBron James last year. I think a guy like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen could benefit from having a guy like LeBron James on the team. I think you maximize their skill set too as well. I think James Harden has an easier task of just scoring the ball at will and not having to get others involved a little bit more. So there's more accountability held on him scoring. Donovan Mitchell is going to probably have one of his better seasons with the guy next to LeBron James, learning more about just the pressure it takes into getting into deep in the playoff runs and all types of stuff. I think that, that would be a very pivotal move, especially him already being in Cleveland. This would be his third stint, though. So, that would do nothing but rejuvenate the city. They would know that there's a chip on their shoulder that we have to get to the finals this year. You know what I'm saying? It will be big for Cleveland. I think everybody in that Cleveland organization will understand the task that's at hand in order to get to the finals. Because if you bring in a guy like LeBron James, especially in Cleveland, once again, you want to win a chip. We was already close last year in the conference finals. So us bringing LeBron James show that we want to get to the finals. And not only want to get to the finals, we want to win the finals. So I'm interested in that. But number one, and I've been saying this since I've heard about LeBron James free agency and where he's going to go, Denver. I think that's probably one of the most craziest IQ duos that you would have on the floor between a Jokic and a LeBron James, and with a supporting cast of Jamal Murray, who else? Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Payne Watson, Julian Strawther would even shine in that type of system. I think that that's one of the best things that can happen for LeBron right now because you have a top three MVP candidate player that you're teaming up with. You have a guy, Jamal Murray, that's a bucket when needed to be. Aaron Gordon, when healthy, is a solid, it's a solid 3-and-D player, athletic and getting to the rack. He helps your situation out. Payne Watson is a defensive menace. And Cam Johnson, who could use a little bit more help shooting wise, he didn't particularly shoot well. It was a struggle for him. He could be solid. I think overall, that team would be a very complete team, especially losing a guy like Tim Hardaway. So you got to find a different way to focus on just like a small sample size. And I'm not comparing these two though. But when I watched like 2 seasons ago, when I watched Russ and Jokic, and I seen how they played well off each other with just cutting, pick and rolling, and screening and getting Jokic easy looks. LeBron and LeBron and Jokic could do that to a times five, times 10, though, because Bron still has that athleticism and could get the ball to Jokic to make Jokic look good as well, too. So overall, I really hope that he would go to Denver. I think that's his best chance and finish out with the championship. I think that Jokic is still hungry for another championship. I think that just the idea of him and Jamal Murray too as well. A team that kicked his ass in the playoffs, so they kind of know him really well. And Braun knows Denver system really well. That would be a match made in heaven to me. I'm here for it. I'm advocating that Braun got to go to Denver. I don't know if you want to deal with that type of altitude this late in your career though, but I'm saying the most perfect fit would be him and Jokic. That would be a deadly duo. Whether it's Braun and Jokic on the pick and roll, whether it's Jokic and Braun, whoever cuts to that basket, rolls to that basket, it's gonna look so tough, bro. Like, I already see it right now. Like, that's high level IQ basketball to where you have the good supporting pieces around you to where it helps you now to where even if somebody tries to patch that pick and roll, shooters or a little small pick and roll to the basket with a cutting edge. Yo, I already envision it right now. It would be so tough, but Denver is really my top destination for Braun. I didn't say New York because he already said that if they had one day, he probably would have went there. That would be interesting to see too, though. That's an honorable mention. But for the most part, though, I say Denver. Denver would be a
Okay.
nice fit.
But do you think that is where he's going? Like, if you had to,
Oh, that
yeah,
was the second
no,
part to your question.
yeah, no,
Um,
where do you think he is going? If you had to put money down, your last dollar, where is LeBron James suiting up for this next season?
as a betting man, if I had to bet where LeBron James was going to end up this season, I would say he would return to the land just off the strength of comfortability, just off the strength that he has a scoring guard in Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. He has athletic bigs in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, rim protection. Does he have shooting off the bench? He has Max Strus off the bench, Sam Murray off the bench. He has shooting off the bench. He has a complete team to where you could make a deep run in this playoffs. You really can. You just need that. You need that leader, that vocal leader, and that's exactly what LeBron was for them. I don't think Donovan Mitchell was the leader of the team last year. I don't think James Harden was the leader. I don't think nobody was a leader. I just think it was a talented group that pushed the agenda that far, managed to go to 2 Game 7s and found their way to get to the conference finals. But in reality, they need a leader to compose them to really because they're still relatively young. Besides James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, as late as is his career, him hitting his prime, he's going to need a guy like LeBron James to navigate him through his prime, and especially since he's locked in on Cleveland since he signed off on that extension for like what 5 years 275. I forgot how much it was, but Donovan Mitchell got paid bread, so he wants to be in Cleveland. Bron
Right.
James can end his career in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are a talented duo big. They just need a little more guidance. And James Harden, there's only so much you could do because he has that laid back personality. He'll get others involved, but guidance when it comes from LeBron James. You know how LeBron is actively pushing for bigs to be better. So I think that's the best spot for him if I had to bet money. But yeah, he finishes off in the land.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know when this decision is going to come. We are approaching the anniversary of the actual decision that happened many years ago when he chose to take his talents to Miami. It would be crazy if he was to, do that on the same day. Does seem like a LeBron James type of thing to do. But yeah, Denver, Miami, Golden State, the Sixers, Cavs, those are the top five teams I have formed. But ultimately, me and Seth do think he will be back in Cleveland when it's all said and done. Moving on to off-season news that, we have to talk about every single year. Because around the same time, it happens every single year. Ben Simmons is back. Ben Simmons is back from his fishing hiatus and has said that he would like a return to the NBA. Now, I don't remember the exact quotes word for word, but he did say that he was watching the playoffs this last season. And, just being a basketball player, it was getting him excited. It was revving up that basketball mind of his. And he was saying that he was enticed on coming back, maybe going back to Philly, where it all started, maybe going to Miami. He's saying not for the reasons we think. He likes Eric Spoelstra, he likes the culture. And he's saying he is just not opposed to a return. Now, the last couple years, we've seen Ben Simmons. We haven't seen Ben Simmons. When we have seen Ben Simmons, he just has sort of been a shell of himself. We all know he hasn't been the same since that series against Atlanta, to where he spun off the Reno Gallinari. He had Trey Young under the basket and decided to pass it off to Matisse Thybulle, who also, Ben Simmons, stating that Matisse should have made the layup. I said, well, should have made the free throws, and we wouldn't be in this situation. So, how do I even word this question? I gotta make it a two-part question. Are you here for Ben Simmons comeback, and do you think he can still have some type of impact in today's NBA?
Um, Yeah, I give as much as Ben Simmons pisses me off with just hearing comments like that, like, oh, he should have made the two free throws, or just how he went about shit after that whole shit in Philly. I know Doc's rubbed him off the wrong way, but I feel like he just went about it like a diva manner, and now we're just here now. But I'm here for it. I think that if he's been working on this game, so however extent he's been working on this game, I like to see it though. But I need to see it on a vet minimum deal. You get no money, nigga. You get no real money. You don't get no 2 years. You don't get no 3 years. You get a 1 year, 5M deal. Take it or leave it, nigga. Nobody signed you for
Whoa,
three.
whoa, 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 whoa! Are you
No,
saying he
no,
can't get max dollars?
no. He does not get shit, bro. You just quit to become a fisherman. You join a fishing league, bro.
He did win the fishing championship.
He won something.
No, I'm just saying, like, so he
Nah, yeah,
has
shout out
been
to him though.
killing.
Shout out to him. I thought that was his new future endeavors. I thought, what I'm saying, he enjoyed it. Like, what I'm saying, I get there's still a joy of basketball, but let's be real here, bro. Niggas ain't haven't seen you that good in how long? Niggas haven't seen you that good since you did that whole Matisse Thybulle shit. Now everything's been a mental blockage. Now, what I'm saying, and you're dealing with the back surgery. You're not gonna come back who you was. So anything less than a vet mill, you're bugging, bro. If you want some money, bro, go show us you can still hoop. Go show us you can hoop at a freaking role player level, or a mid role player level, or what I'm saying, something. Show us you could be a star in your role. And if that's the case, man, a bunch of teams will want to take a chance. Ben Simmons is 6'10", could play at a 1 through 5. Can't shoot the pill for nothing, but what I'm saying, though, defensively, you could go small ball with him. He could be in passing lanes. He's a physical presence. He could finish at the rim. I would hope so. You get what I'm saying? If this is anything I'm taking from Ben Simmons from his last stint in Philly and maybe a little bit of that first year in Brooklyn, I would hope he could do that. But the Ben Simmons we know that we seen last play in the NBA in the Clippers was nothing compared to that. So if he wants to come back to the NBA, we gonna have to see something different, and you have to approve it in a 1 year. You need 1 year, a vet minimum. because no team is going to put their hard earned money giving you a contract just for you to say, oh, I want to go back fishing again. Oh, the mental blockage is still there. My back still hurts. It's not a guarantee with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is so unpredictable right now that it's a big gamble if you sign up to us like a 2 year, a 3 year deal. Vet minimum. We'll see what he do. I don't know about Miami though. That floor spacing once again though, but I know a lot of teams that can use a Ben Simmons right now. Shit, with that vet minimum for that roster for the Knicks, we could use a Ben Simmons. The Knicks were interested in Ben Simmons at a point, put him at a small ball five. Shit, a lot of teams could use him. Denver could use a small ball five too. Like, what I'm saying? Ben Simmons right now is like a center because he can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? You're 6'10, you could defend at a high level. I don't know if you could still do that though, but you could be a tenacious defender. You could be in lanes. You could rebound. You could do that. But right now, it's such a gamble that I take a small chance on it with a vet minimum and make him try to earn that money though. If you go ahead and give Ben Simmons a 2 years, like 30 mil, or like what I'm saying, you just wasted money. I'm gonna be honest, you wasted money. Because what has Ben Simmons shows? Like, has he even posted his yearly in the lab videos with C Brickley? I haven't even seen that.
Oh, but
I
it's
don't know.
coming. It's coming, man.
Man, all I know is that it's funny to see, but if you feel like you're ready to come hoop again, and shit, show me, nigga, show me, because it's not like you was a scrub at a point in time. At a point in time, you was nice. You was labeled the next LeBron. But that one mental blockage and you not really locking in on your jump shot, a lot of shit fucked him up to where now you just fell off a cliff. And I think that's what I was talking about too. And this brings you back to what we was talking about yesterday. That's a perfect guy we talked about. Ben Simmons. You said somebody that was at their peak and that was playing at an all NBA caliber level, and then just fucked himself up and then just never recovered, even though he's in his prime.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. All joking aside, I'm a Ben Simmons fan. I have been since he came into the league. I love what he did in Philly. He was a triple double guy, an all NBA kind of player, all star. He was the next coming of LeBron. In my opinion, I think out of all these players we've heard over the last, decade or so, being the next LeBron, right? The Michael Porter Juniors, the Andrew Wiggins, I think that Ben Simmons was really the closest thing due to his, playmaking, him getting out in transition, and just that basketball IQ. He was really a 16, 7 and 7 guy. And then that series in Atlanta happened. Mental health is definitely a serious thing. And we'll never know what actually is going on from the day-to-day life of Ben Simmons, let alone just anybody, right? People be going through things and we are all quick to judge. We're just in that kind of time and era. Um, so I don't think it's always fair. But just speaking about him as a professional, when he's on the court, right? The media and us fans are here, just to give our opinions, right? And the last time he was playing basketball on the Clippers, I can't say it was good or bad for me. It was just not memorable. Like I can't really remember what he did on the Clippers. Right? So to me, he just didn't really have that kind of impact. I definitely can understand him watching the playoffs, and seeing the Knicks going on that magical run and, just starting to get the juices going again. So I definitely see where he's coming from. I don't know about him going back to Philly. I don't know if the fans are going to embrace Ben Simmons coming back to Philadelphia. Um, Yeah, and he's definitely not going to be a starter. So I don't even know if that's his aspiration. Does he want to be a starter again? Does he want to come up there? Who the hell knows? But can he still play the game of basketball? We could only assume, right? This is another situation to where a team's gonna have to take a chance on him and show us what he can do. I seen someone say, I think maybe Joe Johnson or somebody say, you just signed him to a training camp deal. Right? And you see what is he doing in this training camp? Is he locked in? Can he still play make? Can he still get up and down the court with with the best of them? How is he in the pick and roll? Does he shoot jump shots now? Because I think that's one of the craziest mysteries in NBA history on why he really doesn't shoot. I could never really understand that. I mean, hey, I just don't know. But am I here for the comeback? Yes. And I said, when we spoke about behind the scenes, I do like Miami. I get the whole spacing thing and all that. That's 100% valid. But I like him back in Miami strictly for that culture. Because Eric Spoelstra is not going for that. Pat Riley's not going for it. He'll be released sooner than you think. So I definitely like him in Miami. And yeah, it's all up to who wants to give him that shot. Are they gonna do it? I don't know.
My thing
But
is, I'd rather have given a chance to Victor Oladipo, bro. I'd rather give a chance to Oladipo than because I know at least he's actively hooping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he wants to get it back. Ben Simmons is like, nigga, is it a check? What you mean you was watching at home, nigga? You had the chance, bro. They even gave you opportunities to, for whatever reason that you stepped away from the game. You know, whether it's mental health wise, whether it's just trying to gain your focus or something like that. There's other people that was working. Oladipo's been fighting for a contract. Mind you, he's doing numerous surgeries. It's not like he just wants to quit the game. You left the game. There's niggas out here that didn't leave the game on their own terms that's still wanting a shot.
no, yeah, I definitely understand. Shout out to Victor Oladipo. What was the last team he was on? Was it Miami?
You hear me?
Right. I'm not sure with his situation. I just know the business of sports and particularly the NBA. It gets real weird behind the scenes. I just don't know what Victor Oladipo's value is. I'm definitely here for it. We reposted on the channel that quote that he put out that he's still trying to get into the league, but I just don't know. So shout out to Victor Oladipo. But the last topic though that we'll just get into for this whole free agency recap, um, let's talk a little bit about Jalen Duren, right? A player that had a great regular season, right? Was an all star, all NBA player, right? Even when Cade went out with his collapsed lung, seemed like Jalen Duren upped his game and kept that team afloat. The playoffs came around and he was bad. Right, it just is what it is. He was. I don't know what was going on with him, Angel Reese, and Wendell Carter Jr. I don't know anything about that, but I would hate it if you let a female mess up your mental in the playoff. Right, I don't know, but just did not put up the numbers that he did in the regular season. It was a pretty big drop off, and now the off season is here. He was eligible for 200 plus million. I don't remember the exact number, but the Pistons don't want to give him that. And is that justified? I mean, yeah, right. This kind of reminds me of the whole James Harden thing now. Even if LeBron doesn't go there, I would not give James Harden no money because am I paying you for the regular season or the playoff? I don't know what these contracts are based off of, but I don't need a regular season player if we're trying to contend and we have Cade Cunningham, who's an all-star, first team all NBA player, and you're supposed to be the big man. You're supposed to be the big man for him, and you just did not produce at all. So I heard rumors of maybe Sacramento was interested. I heard talks about the Lakers. I don't know what's going to happen with Jalen Duren, but what do you make of all this, and what do you see happening with Jalen Duren? Audio.
My whole thing, fuck, what the fuck? You hear me? I
Yeah,
bet.
you're good.
Yeah, my whole thing with this Jalen Durn situation is I think Jay got to meet somewhere down the line in the middle. I know you young, you want your bread though, but at the same time, it's you got to understand we're playing for production in the playoffs. And yeah, you had a hell of a regular season, but yeah, we're still a team we're young. We just won 60 games. We think we have our best shot to title contend. And if you taking up all that money and you're not able to produce at a maximum play style at that type of money that we pay for you in the playoffs, then we just getting zold. And that's where the difference lies, reality, between the Pistons and then Jalen Duren. And I understand that on the Pistons GM side, though, because yeah, you're a talent. Yeah, you helped us throughout the regular season. Yeah, we know what you could do. But in the playoffs, where it matters most, though, if we tie our money to you and your drop off is an 11-6 guy after this being like a 20-10 guy, what the fuck did I just pay you for? Regular seasons? So I understand for that much. At this point, I think on Jalen Duren's side, he feels as if the franchise doesn't believe in him enough to low because they're lowballing him. But young man, my boy, it's on you, man. You know what I'm saying? What can you get better at? Can you help this team grow? So that's where the frustration lies. I think Jalen Duren did a move to where he said he'll opt out and he'll sign somewhere else if that's the case, just to rattle up the Pistons. But the Pistons are in no position right now to give up a guy like Jalen Duren, especially not getting nothing in return. So in that case scenario, it's a tough situation. If I'm them, I'd come to an agreement. And if Jalen Duren ends up, not being able to produce for that contract, then you got to chalk it up as a loss. But I don't think you let young talent walk away for nothing in this league. I don't care if it's Sacramento, you try to do a sign and trade with Sabonis. That doesn't get you nowhere. That might push you back. Um, the only realistic thing I see is if Philadelphia is willing to cut ties with Embiid and they do a trade between Durant and Embiid. And now you get another offensive juggernaut next to Cade, and then you get a solid big man that picks and rolls and doesn't take away from the ball handling of a Jalen Brown, of a VJ Edgecombs, of a Tyrese Maxey. You know what I'm saying? So the ball handlers, the guards could be the guards while the bigs, do real big shit like set screens, roll hard to the basket, clean up the offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, block shots. That's the type of big that will fit in the Philly system that we got going on right now, especially with all these guards coming in. And then for the Piston side of things, I think that Cade with Embiid would be a lethal duo now because you have somebody else that could get a bucket, and that takes away the pressure from Cade Cunningham. But what I'm saying, that's up to Detroit if they're willing to do that, and Philly if they're willing to part ways. But other than that, though, I don't think there's no equal value in return right now. I mean, I could say if Houston wants to move away from Shangun too as well, but with their floor spacing problems and everything, that wouldn't make sense. So realistically, you're in a position in Detroit to where you have to bring back Duran. I think that's really the most important thing. I think you have to bring him back, and then you have to add on in different places.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with your point that you can't lose him for nothing, seeing that Detroit hasn't really addressed their offensive issues. So I definitely agree with you on that point. But I also like that move you said to Philadelphia. I'm one of the people saying that I just don't feel Joel Embiid's his timeline and the Sixers timeline. I just don't feel on the same page anymore. And I feel the Sixers would be an overall better team without Embiid. And once again, I'm not saying that Joel Embiid is washed or can't perform anymore, because when he is on the court healthy, he is a 25 and 10 guy. He showed that in the first round and really helped them win that first round series against the Celtics team that was projected to go farther. So him in Detroit, I think that would be better for the pairing of Cade Cunningham, him needing a big. I like Joel Embiid and Cade, but you're not gonna have him for every game. And is his body going to last as you get into the next rounds of the playoffs, right? Because once again, the thing with Embiid is like he may get you through a round, but now is his body going to hold up for the next round? He was great against the Celtics, but then against the Knicks, he couldn't guard Carl Anthony Towns. Carl Anthony Towns was just driving right by him because he can't move laterally. He can't run up and down the court. So it's interesting, Joel Embiid just a player in today's game right now because he's still very talented. But if it's a young team trying to get up and down the court, Joel Embiid is stopping at half court. So I don't know. And then Şengün in Houston, um, I'm not mad at that trade either. Jalen Duren over there in Houston. Fred Van Fleet is coming back. You still are going to have Kevin Durant. Um, you got Marcus Smart over there. You re-signed Tari Eason. So I'm not too worried about the floor spacing really over there too much. And I think any team he Durant goes to is a plus. It's not like it's Kwame Brown we're talking about, but it just in terms of Detroit, if I'm in the front office, I just can't pay him 200 plus $1 million. I can't do it. You was in these playoffs and you was not that guy. I'm I'm sorry. All right. Now look at the Lakers situation. Austin Reeves could have got more money. Right. And I think he would have got even more money if he was really in his bag in the playoff. But he didn't really play that up to par either. So they gave him what he was worth. And him being undrafted and coming from Arkansas, he got exactly what he was worth. Jalen Duren, you are a great kid. You have talent and you're young. So Jalen Duren, I would assume is going to get better, right? Work, just keep continuing to work on his game, but don't overprice yourself to where you're looking like a clown. You're not worth 200 million because you did not play for up to $200 million. No, I like maybe about between like 120 and 150. But I think that's maybe a bit better because the regular season still does matter in a sense. I just don't think that's what these whole contracts now and every should be based off of. It should matter to an extent, but once again, 200 plus million during, you wouldn't be getting that from me.
Yeah, bro. Mind you, it's not about this contract. It's about the next contract. Because you could have a contract like this that got overpaid, and now nobody's going to put that gamble on you. But if you, but then again, the NBA career span is short, so I get it. Mind you, I do get it though. You know what I'm saying? You want your money now, bro. Because
Oh no, if I'm Jalen Duren, I need everything. But putting my GM hat on, nigga, sit your ass down.
yeah, it's a tough between the side because you probably seen a nigga whack it and you get like bread. So it's just like if he could get that, why can I get that? But is it really risk? Is it really a risk like you want to take to where you're in a good position in Detroit? You know what I'm saying? Like you just made All NBA. You'll get that bread back some way somehow. But it's like, damn, I'm missing out to one of M's though. But that's something that they got to come to terms with. Jalen Duren got to look himself in the mirror. It's just like, am I holding my team back? Because if I take this money and I do the same thing I did for last two playoffs, no, actually, I'm not gonna give him that because round one against the Knicks last year, his first coming out, he wasn't that bad. But I think that this year's playoff showed that he had a regression and his game needs more improving. Because now you're in second year in the playoffs. The scouting reports only need to get more attention on you though. So, young man, you just got to work on your game. I think that's more important than the money right now. That's more important than the Detroit situation. Your game got to do the talking for you. So you got to take another leap, regardless if you get that bread or not.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But we are all out of time. I want to thank everybody for watching, everybody for tuning in. This is the end of the It's Debatable Free Agency special. It's split a three-parter. We got all three parts on YouTube. Definitely watch the videos, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tap in. Follow us on all social media platforms. That is debatable double underscore. You can follow me at Justin Jones on Facebook for details and developments on the platform. What y'all can look out for, we will be doing a WWE episode. I know for all of our WWE fans, it has been a while, but we will be back. Got SummerSlam coming up Saturday night's main event at the Garden next weekend. So we definitely got some content for y'all. Fanatics Fest also next weekend. It's debatable. We'll be in the building. So want everyone to pull up and bring that energy. Um, that's it, man. Jersey.
Jersey niggas.